Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for Dear Evan Hansen, which is based off the 2015 musical of the same name, and is the latest adaptation of a musical to be produced by Universal soon after doing Cats. Yay! Before I continue with the review, I have to mention that I've heard some people compare Dear Evan Hansen to Cats. This is not as bad as Cats. I'm just going to put that out there right now. There will be nothing that even resembles Cats. That movie is truly a one-of-a-kind, spectacular failure on all accounts. Dear Evan Hansen is not that. But is it good? Well, the movie stars Ben Platt, who actually played Evan Hansen in the original musical. And Evan Hansen is a kid in high school who has social anxiety. He has an assignment given to him by his therapist where he tries to write down a letter to himself. Dear Evan Hansen, today's going to be an awesome day. And the movie starts off with his first day of school, and his first day of school just goes down the shitter. So he writes a letter to himself on how his first day of school was terrible. And as he's printing out his letter in the library, this kid named Connor picks up the letter, takes it, and then the next day, Connor commits suicide. So Connor's parents, especially his mother, played by Amy Adams, sees the note and thinks that it's a suicide letter, and they also assume that Evan Hansen is a friend of Connor. But Evan Hansen does not tell the truth right away, so he basically says, yeah, we were friends, and eventually he starts becoming more recognized. The lie continues to grow, and he develops feelings for Connor's sister, played by Kaitlyn Dever. You could probably tell by that plot description how things are going to go by the end of this movie. So, I'd seen the trailers for this a lot. It looked kind of interesting. I keep forgetting that it was a musical. I'd never seen the original show myself, so I have nothing to compare it to. But at the same time, with any adaptation, whether it's of a musical, a video game, or a book, the movie, at the end of the day, should stand on its own. I mean, yes, it's in our nature to compare it to the original source material, but it also probably helps if you just judge the movie on its own. And as somebody who has not seen the original play, if I were to judge this movie as a movie, I'd say it's one of the worst, most insulting, and most emotionally manipulative movies of the year. Like, this movie is true garbage. Now, I will still stand by my statement and say that this movie is nowhere near as bad as Cats, but I can see why a lot of people are saying that it's as bad, if not worse. It's probably for different reasons, because Cats the movie is an incompetent mess based off a really terrible stage play. I'm sorry, I still do not like the original play Cats. Dear Evan Hansen is not really incompetently made, it's just emotionally manipulative, as I said beforehand. I know there's been a lot of criticism directed towards Ben Platt and how he looks too old to be playing a high school kid, which, yes, it is a problem, and it does bring back memories of the Amazing Spider-Man movies where Andrew Garfield was too old to be playing a high schooler, or Fired Up, where your two main leads are clearly in their 30s, but they're in high school. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few people out there who's actually seen Fired Up. If you don't know what that movie is, it's not that good. It's not awful, but it's not great. And I know it's not uncommon for actors who are in original stage shows to be in the film adaptations. I mean, if you look at Rex Harrison from My Fair Lady, that's not an uncommon practice at all, but there is kind of the nepotism that Ben Platt's father is one of the producers of this movie, so I can see how people are criticizing in that aspect, but really, at the end of the day, Ben Platt is the least of this movie's problems. And it's not so much him as an actor. He does the best he can. In fact, he's actually kind of convincing at being this awkward teenager that has social anxiety. And I don't admit, when I was in middle school, I had social anxiety as well. So there are a few points throughout this movie where I kind of related to him. Now, the points where I'm just like, yeah, no, I was never this kid at all, was when he just builds this entire lie surrounding this kid who committed suicide and who frankly was kind of a prick. I mean, we, the audience, don't know that much about Connor, neither does Evan Hansen, so look, this is a tricky subject because suicide is never a good thing. When you hear about somebody committing suicide, it's truly a gut punch. But my problem is that the movie doesn't really do a good job at showing a whole lot about Connor to make us think, yeah, we feel sorry for this kid. Because most of the time we see him, he's just being a bully. So I really had a hard time feeling sympathy for him. And plus, the fact that Evan Hansen, again, he keeps building up this lie to Connor's parents, to his own mother, to Kaitlyn Dever's character. It's just so... it's hard for me to really get on board with this whole movie. And the movie asks you to feel sympathy for Evan Hansen as well. And I just can't. The amount of likable people in this movie can really be counted on one hand, and more specifically, 3 fingers. I think Kaitlyn Dever as Connor's sister Zoe is really good, and to be honest, at the beginning of the movie, she's the only character that kind of makes any sense. Then as the movie goes along and she kind of falls for Evan, I'm just like, oh man. And then also like Julianne Moore as the mother. And honestly, Evan Hansen's best friend was probably my favorite character of the movie, just because he was a sarcastic smartass. But Amy Adams, man, this is not a good look for her between this and Hillbilly Elegy. And the thing is, she's not bad, but much like with Hillbilly Elegy, she's just in a terrible movie. She's giving it her all, and she's good, but the script and just the overall material is not doing her any favors. And then Amandla Stenberg from The Hate U Give is also in this movie, and she starts off being likable, but further down the line, she is told by a character, do not do this. And then she does it. I'm like, wow, you just jumped right over to the unlikable list. And yeah, this, I don't know. This movie is just absolutely awful and insulting. It's... I'm at a loss for words. I'm going to move on to the other aspect of this movie, the music. I understand that the original source material was a musical, but I don't think these songs work in a movie. Most of the time when I'm watching this movie, I forget that it's a musical, and then whenever the music starts swelling, the numbers are so awkward and just have no place in this movie that I'm praying that they stop. Now, the way this movie ends, I found kind of to be unrealistic. I won't say exactly what happens, but it does have a somewhat happy ending, and I thought to myself, yeah, that's not how real life works. I never saw the original play, so I have nothing to base this off of. But if I were to base this off of anything else, I'm going to echo Courtney Howard from Variety, where she called it the Book of Henry, Life Itself, and Collateral Beauty of 2021. I myself have not seen Life Itself, but Book of Henry is a damn good comparison, because you think it's going to start out as something kind of sweet and simplistic, but then it just plummets into a rabbit hole of emotional manipulation, and you just can't be on board with it. And I haven't seen Collateral Beauty, but I have heard reviews of it, especially Chris Stuckman's. And I think with what happens in Collateral Beauty, it's also a good movie to compare Dear Evan Hansen to. So I don't know why I'm not saying Burn in Hell. I guess the reason I'm not is because I never found this movie anger-inducing. I never was irritated watching it. I guess I was, but not to the point where it made me angry and that I wanted to leave the theater. So I'm gonna be nice and say don't waste your money on it. If I were to say one more nice thing about Dear Evan Hansen, it's that when it comes to movies about mental illness made by big major studios, I don't think it's anywhere near as terrible as Joker, where that movie literally asks you to feel sympathy for and get behind a murderous, psychotic, psychopathic killer. That's kind of redundant, but you get my point. Evan Hansen as a character is not a murderer, but the things he does in this movie are still very unforgivable, and it's hard to really like this guy. And there you go, that's my review for Dear Evan Hansen. This is probably going to stick around for my bottom 10 list. Right now, it's a tie between this and Space Jam: A New Legacy in terms of which movie this year I hate the most. I'll finalize my decision when we get to the end of the year, but for now I want to know what you guys think about this movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? If you've seen the original play, how does it compare? Because I'm really curious to know how this original play works, where This movie clearly didn't. Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for Dear Evan Hansen. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.